Hi, welcome to the Thrift Shop. Today we have a Phono Preamp Shootout. Welcome back. We're going to see which Phono Preamp is crowned king or queen of the preamps. All right, well, today we're going to talk about 6 Phono preamps ranging from $20 up to $500, and we will see which one is the best. And with that said, it's hard to select a Phono preamp without knowing what kind of cartridge you're using, what kind of amplification or even speakers that you're using. So with that said, I will do my best to try to navigate through what preamp might be best for you. I will crown a preamp or a few preamps, but for you, you might want one of the other ones based on the information that I provide. So with that said, we'll get through some of the preamps here and have a good time. So it's hard to talk about Phono preamps without talking about first the equipment that I've been using for the last several months to evaluate all of these 6 preamps. Well over 200 to 300 hours of vinyl playing time, using a musical Fidelity M3 SI amplifier, a Denon VL12 turntable, Pioneer HPM 100 vintage speakers. So first we're going to start with the cheapest one. The $20, the cheapest Phono preamp that I could find on Amazon, and I'm sure there are a few $15 ones made by Pile or whatever. This represents the low end of the spectrum, the Pile. This is the PP999, interesting name, but anyways, it works. So this is a moving magnet only Phono preamp, and for $20, the RIAA equalization is great. It does a great job. You don't get great soundstage. And by the way, I do have a review on each one of these, so please go back, look at my videos, and you know, go to each one. You can understand that. So with each one of my previous videos, I should mention this, there are sound clips, sound demos in each one that I've recorded directly out of the preamp, not out of a speaker. So you're getting direct output out of the Phono preamp, and you can hear how it sounds. How good the RIAA equalization is for each one of these. And for this $20, this is not bad. Quite honestly, in the group, it holds its own. So I would not be afraid to use this at all. So if you only have $20, $30, go buy this. There's no reason not to. The use case, I think I mentioned before, would be if you had an integrated amplifier, maybe a vintage amplifier, receiver, and the Phono is on the edge of working. I think every vintage stereo amplifier receiver that I have, the Phono is either on the edge or has already gone out. So this was for my daughter's replacement for her Kenwood Silverface, and it works fine. So I would definitely use this for low level listening. If you're listening to vinyl with something at a low volume, something in the background, it's not the major focus, it's background music, then use this. There's no reason to spend a lot of money to get higher fidelity if you're just playing low level music in the background. Perfect use case for this, nothing wrong. Next, we're gonna move to the infamous Shit Magni. Shit Magni, I think of any of the reviews that's gotten more comments than anything else. It has a cult following, so if I say anything negative about it, I'll probably have 1,000 comments of people telling me why I don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. It's a shit product. I love shit products. I have a lot of them. This is just not the best shit, okay? Does it do the job? Yes. Is it the best? No. And for me, there's a specific use case where this doesn't work. But I do believe, you know, once upon a time, this probably was one of the better lower end preamps on the market. And I think today there are so many others that have come into play, you know, around the price point that it gets to be a tough choice to say this is the one you should have. The Shit Manny is good. Again, it's not great. I do think that Shit needs to focus. I did watch a YouTube video with Jason talking about they tried to develop a better analog, a better phono preamp, and just couldn't come up with something. I find that really hard to believe. I mean, when you, most of this weight, by the way, is just in the metal chassis. If you see pictures of the internals, there's very little there. I bet you this and this have about the same amount of electronics in it. This is just a bigger form factor and weighs a little more. So don't be misled by the size of this. The electronics in here are not very big. So, you know, this does have flexibility of, you know, controls, which I think are very good. You could adjust for moving magnet or moving coil. So, you know, it does have flexibility. It's not the most flexible out there. But for me, the big problem with the Shit Manny is that it does not have a subsonic filter. And oh boy, I must not have my phono or my turntable dialed in and adjusted. No, it's not the case. This isn't your standard harmonics that are going on with the turntable. I don't have my turntable in an ideal situation, and I assume most people don't. I can say that the Denon VL12 is very good with absorption. I'm not getting a lot of reflections through the system. Everything's dialed in. Every cartridge that I use is dialed in. I use both moving magnet and moving coil. I will have some pictures of some of the cartridges that I use, and I'll explain some of those later. But for me, the subsonic filter is a requirement for me because I'm a metalhead, and I probably listen louder than most people do, or I probably should for my own hearing. I do play most of my vinyl in a very large open area within my basement in a workout area, so it's just very loud. I come into it, listen, I go back out. It plays for 2 to 3 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours. So you know, it's rather loud, and without having a subsonic filter, rumble filter, you will get excursion in your speakers. And since I'm running vintage Pioneer HPM 100s, which I absolutely love, I don't want to damage them with driver excursion. So therefore, for me, the Manny is not the best unit. For you, it may be good. I did find the Manny did not showcase higher level cartridges. So I think this works very, very good for moving magnet cartridges. It just didn't go very well with moving coil. I didn't get the nimble nature of a moving coil. It just all sounded the same, even though you could adjust for each cartridge. Usually you can use some of the settings as a somewhat of an equalizer, I guess, a tone equalizer, tone adjustment. So with this, I just didn't get it. So nothing wrong with it. It's just not over the moon the best thing out there. Moving on, Musical Fidelity V90 LPS. This retails for $400. So this is coming up into the higher end of the spectrum of this sub $500 Shootout. I think the Musical Fidelity, and I think I mentioned in another video, I absolutely love Musical Fidelity. One of my favorite brands. That's why I have the Musical Fidelity M3SI integrated amp. Absolutely love it. It will have its own dedicated video where I talk about its great things and all of its pitfalls. But Musical Fidelity has never let me down. This Phono Preamp did not. V90 LPS, if I could sum it up in one word, I would say dynamic. This unit does not have adjustability of the Shit Manny, I think the newer unit does. I'm not sure of its name. I know it's a very similar style look, but it does have adjustability on it, which would probably be a better unit. But I still don't believe it's worth $400. But this is extremely dynamic. You can run moving coil, moving magnet, but no adjustability, so you're limited. And anybody that uses moving coils know that you have high output, so it might be less than your moving magnet, but you're not going to get as much amplification from this, so you're going to have to turn up your stereo quite a bit. And if you're running a low output moving coil, you're not sure if all of the impedance settings and everything are going to match. So this is a tough choice. But I do think that if you're using a moving magnet, this is, and you love rock metal, this is great. It's dynamic, it's punchy. It sounds like the built-in Phono preamp in the M3SI even better, which I absolutely love. I thought the Musical Fidelity M3SI integrated amplifiers built-in Phono preamp was better than the IFI Zen, to put that kind of into context. So great unit. Again, for me, this is not going to be the unit that I would use for my main listening system, only because it doesn't have a subsonic filter. Even though I do enjoy it. Is it worth $400? No. I got this for under $100. Is it worth it? Yes. Get it. If you're listening at medium to normal, call it 70 dB SPL levels, then, you know, you're probably fine with this unit. If you're going to start pushing your system without a subsonic filter, you're going to have a problem. IFI Zen. I reviewed this a while ago. This is the IFI Zen Phono. I didn't give it a rave review. I didn't like it. As I just mentioned, I thought the Musical Fidelity M3SI was better. And I kept using this after my review. And this was leading up to the evaluation of all these other Phono preamps, and I don't know if it got better or if I got used to it. It's hard to tell. I did swap it out a few times after that, but what I can say, I think because the IFI Zen Phono runs at a much lower voltage than anything else on the table, most are 12 to 16 volts. I think the Shitmania is 16. A few are 15 volts and a few are 12 volts. This is running 5 volt, the same as the DAC. And I'm not sure if it just took that long for it to open up or again for me to adjust to the sound. You know, my impressions remain the same, although I do think this did get better over time. I'm not going to be one of those people that says, you know, this thing's better than anything $500 and below. I'm not going to say, or anything $2,000 and below. I'm not going to say that, not at all. I do think it's good. You know, it does have a subsonic filter on it. So for me, I can use it. Yes, I can go loud with my system. You know, you have 4 settings from moving magnet. If you're using a high output moving coil, it has a setting for that. So for everything that I used, the IFI Zen actually works quite well. So I did not have a problem with this. And I do believe if I could give this a crown, this would be for the form factor. The weight, the feel, fit finish of this is amazing. Compared to anything else, this is ideal. I do probably foresee IFI going this direction. Knowing how IFI is, they're going to extrude this shape, and there's, you know, they probably already have 1 million foot of it somewhere, and they're just going to hack off, probably make a bigger unit and do their next Phono preamp that way. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think this is a great format to use. Absolutely love it. Is it the best? No, not by a long shot. Moving on to the Vista Audio Phono 2. This was the last review that I did, and I absolutely love this unit. I think if I could sum this up in one word, to be smooth. This thing is a smooth operator. Man, is this thing good. I listened to this on my musical Fidelity M3SI, and absolutely amazing. And after a period of time, I realized being how smooth it is, and you could get a sense that the soundstage could be much better. Not to let the cat out of the bag, the musical Fidelity M3SI, I nicknamed Control Freak because it wants to dominate the soundstage. So if you have forward speakers, like I do, Zoo speakers, it wants to pull it back in. So I like it for reference because I can tell if something is changing the Control Freak and know that it's doing something impactful. So what I did is actually put this on my KN tube, EL84 tube amplifier, and it was a match made in heaven. You know, the soundstage, and you know, the classic story of euphoric, three-dimensional, holographic, yeah, all those words, comes out with the Vista Audio Phono 2. Great sound that comes out of this. So I do believe in some communications with Boris that they are going to release another one at some point, and I gave him some recommendations for things just because I had a few problems with it. Nothing problematic, but I just think that it needs to be heavier and maybe build in the power supply, things like that, just to make it a little bit higher end. But by no means is this a slouch. So for me, the Vista Audio, also I should mention, with all the various controls, this of anything under $500 has the most amount of adjustability for specifically the cartridges. There are a few more things in one more unit, but for adjustability, this is number one. So if you plan to use a lot of cartridges, like I do, this is great. You can dial in each cartridge. It was just, I was running in a new cartridge over the past week, a Zoo Audio DL103. I wanted to see how that sounded compared to my DL103R standard Denon versus the Zoo. And, you know, I found that I need to use the tone controls on here, or use some of the adjustments on here as tone controls to dial it in. And, it, you know, it just came in smooth like butter. So, amazing Phono Preamp, $400, worth every cent. You know, if you prepackage this and put Sutherland on it and it sold for $1,200, I don't think anyone would know, just to tell you the truth. So, amazing value in the Vista Audio. Last but not least, the IFI Iphono3. If you watch my my video on this, I went off on a pretty big rant about this form factor. Absolutely horrible form factor. You do have a lot of adjustability. You have three different different equalization curves. So you have, if you're running anything pre-1958, you have two different equalization curves on it. So if you like old music, that's fine. You know, on here on this end, I do run the, I should mention with this, I do run the IFI IPower X with this, which is the same power supply that comes in the Iphono3. I know with the Iphono3, which is double the price, so this is $500, the Iphono3 is $1,000. I find it hard to pay for this little thing $1,000, quite honestly, for just a Phono Preamp. I guess if you put it in evaluation and you say, well, I'm not sure, IDSD signature, same kind of thing, you know, goes for $800 maybe, yeah. But there you got a DAC amplifier, you got all the stuff, but this is just a Phono Preamp. So for $500, it's fine. The Iphono3 uses the IPower X, so I thought best to try to mimic what a $1,000 Phono Preamp would kind of be like. So this is what I did. And this Phono Preamp has changed me forever. I don't think that I will ever listen to digital music the same ever again. This thing's probably cost me $1,000 in vinyl. Seriously, that I just keep on buying and listening. vinyl with this thing. Everything else that I talked about, I would put in the same category, with the differences of showing you what your cartridge can do. The Vista audio will show you what your cartridge can do. If you go down to some of the lower end, even the IFI Zen, it's not going to show off your cartridge. Just get a cheap $100 cartridge and you're fine. You don't need a moving coil. Yes, you can use it, but it doesn't showcase it, okay? This shows you every little detail of every cartridge that you put in there. And it is remarkable. It's groundbreaking to think about what this can do. And I know this next statement makes absolutely no sense, and I understand it. But I want to connect this to a DAC using inverse RIAA, which some people do if they're going to burn in a Phono preamp, but I want to run it just to hear it. The sound stage that this can create is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I just can't say enough about the sound stage, the detail. For me, the holy grail with this, and I should say that I'm going to do a similar kind of cartridge, Phono cartridge and Shootout. I think I've got 8 cartridges lined up for that. I'm going to do a similar kind of thing to explain some of the cartridges and differences. But I just think it's amazing that the holy grail for me for this sub $500 cartridge is the HANA EH with this is just one of the best things I've ever heard. And everyone has that thing. You know, you hear something and all of a sudden, wow, you know, nothing is the same. You go listen to your headphones that you thought were good and they're not. You go listen to your stereo, you know, different something else, you get in your car and you're just bummed. Nothing can compare it. And that's how I feel with this. This is what I wanted the Denon VL12 Aries to sound like. Okay. I did my review. This is what I wanted. Something that totally changed what I'm listening to. Denon VL12 Aries didn't. This is truly amazing. And actually, because of this, I bought a few more IFI products. So I did have a conversation with IFI. They are aware of the form factor issues. I'm not the only one to complain. They are working on something. They wouldn't give me any details. So I assume we'll see a new Phono preamp higher end from them soon. Hopefully the price doesn't double again since the last time. But for me, this gets the crown. Absolutely. And with that said, the Vista Audio Phono 2 gets a crown if you're running Class A. The reason that I don't like the IFI running Class A tubes or solid state is it's too tubey. So once you run this with tubes, you lose coherence. So you know, sometimes I chuckle, I guess, if I see someone running tubes on a tube preamp or a DAC and then running tubes as their main amplification. You know, amplifying an already second or third harmonic is not good. So, you know, you only want to use it in one place or the other. So this has a very tube-like sound. So let's talk about some music. I'm going to go through again different genres. So the first one here is Architects. This is for those that wish to exist. Whoops, sorry. Here, if you can see it. Great album. Anyways, absolutely fell in love with Architects through here. Very dynamic, great pressing. Something that if you like rock, metal, something that you really should add to your collection. Hopefully, I'm pointing you to bands that aren't, you know, as mainstream. You can find something else. Nirvana, yes. Walmart came through. This is probably one of the best pressings that I've had from Nirvana, or shall I say even Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters. I love Foo Fighters, one of my favorite bands, but I don't like their pressings. This is absolutely amazing. Really, really good. Again, if you're running the IFI with this, it's just it feels like you're there when they're playing the song. It's the only way to describe it. And yeah, I know everybody says that, but absolutely amazing. Again, Walmart. All right. Since I've already picked my favorite metal band of 2021, I really can't give this award to this band, but if I could do it over, this would be it. Starset Divisions by Fearless Records. I am going to do a video just on Fearless Records. I've been listening to a lot of their bands, and I don't know what they're doing pressing wise different than everybody else, but this is binaural. I know people say like, oh, go get Daft Punk. No. You know, do yourself a service. If you like vinyl, buy yourself this album, Starset Divisions. It is rockish metal. It even has some popish kind of songs, but it has it sounds like a movie soundtrack. And it's very binaural, like you're in it. And running the IFI, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing album I've ever heard on vinyl. The way that you feel like you're into a soundtrack, almost like it's Dolby Atmos enabled. Just the best way I can describe it. You can go check this out. You know, if you're running Tidal or anything else, you know, Amazon Music, just give it a shot. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Put headphones on. You'll understand. Highly, highly recommended. Korn. Older, you know, follow the leader. Korn here. You know, some albums and pressings are just better than others, and I've got the new Korn album and absolutely hate it. I like the album digital, don't like it vinyl, and you know, it's hit or miss. So what I found with this Korn Follow the Leader is absolutely dynamic, clean. The bass hits on here, it sounds like you're playing rap. I mean, it's so deep and impactful, and it doesn't matter. Again, if you're using the musical Fidelity, you're going to shake your house, especially running Pioneer HPM 100s. Absolutely amazing.